Hi, everybody. Just have some information that I thought I would share with you. In the last several weeks, many people have been reaching out to ask if what's going on right now with this virus outbreak is having the same effect on the real estate market that the big crash of 2008 had. So, what we've been doing for the last several weeks is kind of going week by week and giving local market information out to say, here's what's happening right now. Everything has been kind of steady. It does not look like 2008 at all. Another thing that we'd like to do, though, is kind of reach back in time and pull some numbers from 2008 and say, here is what happened in 2008, and here's what's happening now. So we've got, recent activity that we can report, but also kind of a good comparison to what was going on back then. So one thing that was going on back then that did lead to a big crash was the volume of cash out home equity refinancing. Okay, so people, if you've got equity in your home, you can do a cash out refinance, which basically says, I've got all this equity in my home now, but I'm going to take that cash, roll it up into my current mortgage, or open up a home equity line of credit, and then I can use that money for home repairs or sometimes for whatever you want. Back in the early 2000s, people were doing this a lot, and home values were so overinflated that they had all of this equity, just a tremendous amount of equity, and it was kind of just too tempting, I think, for a lot of people to cash out on that equity and do whatever they wanted to do. Go on expensive vacations, buy cars, buy boats, really just to do whatever they wanted. And everybody was doing this. So people still take out home equity loans. I have a home equity line of credit myself. I just don't really touch it. It's kind of there for an emergency. But back in the day, I think one thing that we learned in a painful sort of way was that it's not maybe the best idea to go too crazy and taking out, home equity loans against your home and then just blowing all that money on whatever you wanted. So here are some numbers to back all of this up and kind of do a comparison to some activity that was happening leading up to the 2008 crash and what has happened more recently. So I'm going to open up this chart for you. Okay, so to back up this assertion, here are some numbers that I find really, really interesting. So here's a chart of total home equity cashed out in billions of dollars. So in 2005, home equity cash out $263 billion that year. 2006, $321 billion, 2007, $240 billion. So in the 3 years leading up to the 2008 real estate financial crisis, $824 billion of equity cashed out of homes owned at the time. So now let's go to more recent times, the last 3 years leading up into the COVID crisis. 2017, $71 billion, 2018, $87 billion, and 2019, $74 billion, for a total in the last 3 years of $232 billion. So if you compare these numbers, obviously $232 billion is a lot less than $824 billion. In fact, $232 billion in the last 3 years is lower than 2005 just in 1 year, or 2006 or 2007. So in 3 years, we can't even match the amount of home equity that was cashed out in the 3 years leading up to that recession. So there are so many reasons why 2008 is different from 2020, but this is one really good reason and a good thing to keep in mind if you had plans to buy or sell real estate in 2020 and are now thinking, oh great, now what do I do with this COVID situation? COVID is definitely impacting people and impacting lives, and it is a scary thing for sure. But for anybody interested in seeing how 2008 and 2020 are different, I thought this was sort of helpful. So there's a lot more where this came from. This is a really hot topic, and I'll be doing some videos coming up in the near future that further illustrate the differences between these two time periods. But if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out and let me know. I'm here to help.